Manchester United are pushing ahead with a deal to sign Matheus Cunha as soon as possible, according to reports. And David Ornstein has indicated a deal for Liam Delap is next.
They'll have to work out exactly where he fits in, but I do think there'll be quite a lot of change at United.
And United aren't waiting to complete sales. They want both of those deals done early. Now, it's about time United started acting decisively in the summer window again, because seriously, it feels like I've been saying this on repeat for years now. It's a big summer coming up for United. It's always a big summer. But there's one thing that... last summer we started moving earlier, but we could have done it quicker. And what we're looking at here with the idea of Cunha and Delap, maybe deals being done before the season's even over, it's kind of unprecedented for United. I want to run through everything that's been reported, have a conversation about it, speak about Chris Vivell, speak about United's strategy, and overall, you can let me know what you think in the comments below, as you always do. But you'll remember last summer, I published this video, you can see the date of this one, on July the 9th, saying this. United fans have wanted our club to act early in the transfer window instead of waiting for a panicked rush. We always rush. We have rushed for a long, long time. But if you look at last season, we signed Xerxes on the 14th of July. We signed Yoro on the 18th of July. Had to wait until the 14th of August to sign De Ligt and Mazraoui. But some of United's activity was done earlier last summer, before the pre-season started, and it makes a big difference. But that's nothing in comparison to what we're hearing United trying to do this summer, all right? So 23rd of April, Cunha has gone from being a target to positive contract talks being held to reports suggesting that a deal is close. Now, of course, the fact that it's a release clause makes it all the more simple by comparison. But this is something that David Ornstein has been saying when speaking about United's move for both Delap and Cunha.
Opportunities there, Anthony out on loan as well at Betis, to kind of generate funds that would allow them to crack on with these deals. But by the sounds of it, they want to do these two pretty early. So that suggests maybe they don't need to do sales first in that particular.
And that's the big thing. That's the big thing that I want to see United do. Not only, I suppose it's all kind of part and parcel of the same thing, right? Previously, United, I don't care to remember how many times I've covered the United transfer windows and we've been sat there waiting for the club to sell a player to bring money in before the next transfer can get done. That United can only kind of deal with one transfer at a time before they can go on to speaking about the next one. And it's been frustrating. And it's kind of the expectation, I suppose, from a lot of United fans when it comes to United this summer, because of our financial concerns, was that sales are needed. But the fact that the club is willing to do it in a different order allows United to move sooner. And look, let's take this for an example. Chelsea, you can see the date there, 20th of March, announced a double deal for Kenda and Asugo. Look at the fees, 62 nuts money. Of course, it's a little bit different because Kenda's going to be going back to Sporting on loan for a season, but the 20th of March, deals are being agreed. And I don't know whether it's just a Chelsea thing, or I don't know whether it's part of modern football that deals now can get done sooner than they were previously. Like, if you want to go years back, you couldn't even speak to a player before agreeing a fee with the club because that was tapping up. That's just not how it exists in the modern day with transfers and with agents and the power of players. But the idea that United could have Delap... Well, so let's speak about Cunha first. Could have Cunha sealed before the end of the season. Season doesn't end for another month, people. Pre-season doesn't start until when? Don't know. Some point in July? I got no idea. And the same goes for Delap. And again, maybe the conversation's simpler with Delap because it's a release clause. And maybe that's something that United are thinking about when they're looking at targets. But I tell you what, it feels to me like a big contributing factor to this is Chris Vivell. If we rewind to last summer and we speak about Xerxes, 14th of July, Yoro, 18th of July, Man United, we got Dan Ashworth in, I think, on the 1st of July. And Omar Berrada, I think, around about, it wasn't too far after that, I don't think. But it was only Jason Wilcox who had the preparation going into the summer window to decide on the targets. He was effectively our director of recruitment without actually having the title. Chris Vivell was brought in on a short-term basis to help with that, and no doubt he did. But Chris Vivell has been at this club now all season long. Since February February the 25th, he has been our first ever full-time director of recruitment. And what this feels like to me is a club that behind the scenes, despite the maelstrom that we see on the pitch right now, despite the confusion, despite the lack of results, behind the scenes, it feels like the club has actually got a connected up vision and thinking about where we are, about where we want this team to be, and about exactly what players we need to get us there. Because on top of all of this, we're seeing and hearing, of course, you've got Diego Leon that we brought in. Won't be joining until the summer, but a young left-footed wing-back from Paraguay. Then you got this lad, Enzo Canabic, who is going to be a free agent from Le Havre, who, if I remember correctly, is the team we signed Paul Pogba from. I think so anyway. That's going on in the background. Then you're seeing United being linked with moves for players like Franco Mastantuono, 17-year-old from River Plate, won't actually be allowed to sign him until he's 18 in August, but United are apparently one of the front runners for paying his release clause, maybe in a similar way that we paid it for Lenny Yoro. But this all just kind of screams up connected thinking to me. And transfers and recruitment are how our club comes out of the damn shadows. Simple. If we get the recruitment right and we do it 2 or 3 years in a row, then all of a sudden you're looking at a very different looking Manchester United. It's so simple on paper, but United have failed to do it on so many occasions. And as excited as I was for the idea that Xerxes was brought in mid-July and Euro 4 days later, and then, well, these lads, were they signed after the season started? Was that round about when the season started? I can't remember when the season started last season. No idea. Either way, the idea that we could make our first signing a full 2 months earlier than we did last summer is a massive, massive bit of progress. Because not only do you get your signings in early, yeah, great, and that is a good thing. I'm not saying that sarcastically, and they can be involved in everything before the preseason. They settle into the club, great. To me, it would just show that the club actually understand exactly where they want to be. Going into the summer transfer window last summer, we didn't know who our manager was going to be. We didn't really have, we had targets, sure, but I think it was kind of dependent on who the manager was going to be. And if the manager wasn't going to be there, then who are we getting in? And if we get that different manager in, then what players do we need? It just didn't feel, it felt like United were kind of not making it up in real time, but adapting their strategy in real time. Whereas this summer, we know exactly who our manager is going to be. It's going to be Ruben Amorim. We know exactly the system we are playing. We know exactly what the vision is towards Project 150. And that's why we've probably been able to move earlier for players, because we've got that decisiveness, and we haven't had that for a long old time. Whether it works out and whether the likes of Osimhen, don't think it will happen, whether the likes of Cunha work out, whether the likes of Delap work out if he was to be signed, we'll find out. But at the very least, it feels like there's actually a connected thought process behind the scenes when it comes to recruitment at Manchester United. I haven't been able to say that since I don't know when.